Hi everybody, it's Miss Fines. Happy Friday. I'm here for your math lesson of the day. Before I get started, have some friends to shout out. So Carrington, Brooklyn, Avion, Braylon, Zainab, and Miracle, thank you for logging in to learn this week. Thank you to my friends who've already sent me the real world math problem. If you were wondering, it looks like this. The question was, what shapes could you use in a drawing? So here I made a drawing used only of shapes. And at the bottom, I wrote how many I used. So it is now your turn. This whole thing took me no more than 10-15 minutes. Draw your own picture, take a picture and send it to me, and I will include it in my video on Monday. So I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started. We are going to spend today working on composite shapes again, and we're actually going to go straight into our lesson. So if you remember, a composite shape is a shape that's made up of other shapes. So here we have an example in a tangram. So this tangrams are ancient Chinese puzzles that are still used today by adults and children. As you can see in the tangram, there are 7 pieces, and they are organized into a square. I can see several shapes inside the square. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles of all different sizes in all different orientations. I see a square, and I see what we call a parallelogram. So we are going to be reading a story today all about tangrams. It's called Grandfather Tang's Story. And as we read, I want you to notice which tangrams, which shapes are being used. Okay, so let's start our story. This is called Grandfather Tang's Story by Ann Tumper. Grandfather Tang and little Sue were sitting under a peach tree in their backyard. They were amusing each other by making different shapes with their tangram puzzles. Let's do a story about the fox fairy, said little Sue. So Grandfather Tang arranged his 7 tangram pieces into the shape of a fox. Then Grandfather Tang made another fox with little Sue's 7 tangram pieces. Little Sue slapped her hands together as her grandfather began. Although Chow and Wu Ling were best friends, they were always trying to outdo each other. One day, this rivalry almost brought their friendship to a tragic end. They were sitting under their favorite willow tree beside a river talking about their magic powers. I can change myself into a rabbit quick as a wink, boasted Wu Ling. I'll bet you can't do that. I can too, said Chow. Cannot, said Wu Ling. Anyway, actions speak louder than words. So look at these 2 foxes. I can see all the tangram pieces used to make something new. All right, let me get back to my story. Next slide. And he changed himself into a rabbit. Not bad, said Chow, smoothing his whiskers, but watch me do better than that. Before Wu Ling could blink, Chow changed from a fox into a dog. So there's the dog. Now, when Chow changed himself into a dog, he not only looked like a dog, but he felt like a dog and acted like a dog. He bared his teeth, showing your teeth, and lashed his tail. Wu Ling shivered and twitched his nose. I love rabbits, Chow growled. I'm gonna get you and gobble you up. The dog edged closer and closer. Wu Ling's eyes grew bigger and bigger, but then he thought, I'll be safe if I can climb up the willow tree. His little puff of a tail grew long and bushy, and his tall ears shrunk as Wu Ling transformed himself into a squirrel. Look at that squirrel. I think it's really cool how they use the tans or the different pieces in different forms to make different characters. Wu Ling sprang into the willow tree and scrambled to the top. Chow will probably turn himself into a cat so he can climb up the tree after me, Wu Ling said to himself, but he'll never catch me. I'll jump from tree to tree, and he won't be able to follow me. Of course, Chow thought about changing himself into a cat, but that's just what Wu Ling expects me to do, he said to himself. What can I do to surprise him? He thought and thought. I know, I'll swoop down upon him from above. And he turned himself into a hawk. Chow circled round and round in the sky above the willow tree, searching for Wu Ling. Wu Ling peered through the leaves of the tree, looking for Chow on the ground. Round and round, Chow circled the willow tree until he spotted Wu Ling. Kick, kick, kick! He shrieked as he zoomed down upon the squirrel. Wu Ling trembled. Chow's beak looked sharp enough to pierce right through him. If only I'd lived in a shell house, he thought. Then Chow couldn't hurt me. Chow stuck out his fierce claws to seize Wu Ling, but Wu Ling dove toward the river below the willow tree. And as he dove, he tucked his head and tails and legs, turned green, and changed into a turtle. There's that turtle. Wu Ling climbed upon a mossy rock in the middle of the river. He thought he was sage or wise because he looked as if he were part of the rock. Chow circled round and round, searching and searching, until his sharp eyes spotted the turtle. Then he swooped down, down, down toward him. But just as Chow reached him, Wu Ling plunged into the water. Follow me and you'll drown, he cried. Don't worry, cried Chow, plunging right behind Wu Ling. His body grew longer, covered with scales. He whooped the water with his long, wicked tail, and he snapped his spike-toothed jaws as he turned into a crocodile. Wu Ling circled round and round as he plunged down, down, down to the bottom of the river. Chow lashed his wicked tail as he plunged after Wu Ling. Just as they reached the bottom, Chow clamped Wu Ling in his spike-toothed mouth. Now I've got you, he bellowed through his clenched teeth. Oh, no, you haven't, cried Wu Ling, who grew smaller and smaller and changed himself from green to gold as he transformed into a goldfish. As he swam out of Chow's mouth between his spiked teeth, then he hid in a patch of cattails. Chow churned the water with his lashing tail as he charged into the patch after Wu Ling. With his head swinging back and forth and his eyes darting here and there, he searched for Wu Ling. Wu Ling knew that Chow would not give up until he found him. I must fly from here, he thought, and he started to honk as he transformed himself into a goose. Chow charged after him, but Wu Ling spread his wings and took to the air. Chow watched him fly to a small island where a flock of geese were feeding. By now, he was not only very angry, he was very hungry. He decided if he could not catch Wu Ling, any goose would make him a good dinner. He splashed through the water toward the island until he reached it. Honk, 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 called Wu Ling, and he took to the air. A chorus of honks swelled the air as the flock of geese spread their wings to follow him. While Chow watched, the honking grew fainter, the flock grew smaller, and he felt his anger slowly drain away. Moments later, Chow was flying after Wu Ling and the other geese. He could hardly see or hear them at first, but he did not let this discourage him. Calling upon every last bit of his strength, he forged ahead. Each flap of his wing brought him closer. The wedge of geese slowly grew bigger. The honking grew louder. At last, Chow found himself flying beside Wu Ling. I'm tired of our silly game, he cried. Come back with me to our willow tree. Before Wu Ling could answer, something stung Chow's tight wing. He sank toward the ground. A hunter had shot him. Wu Ling flew down beside Chow, placed his left wing under Chow's smashed right wing. Together, they fluttered down to the edge of the forest. The hunter ran toward them. Fly away, Chow urged Wu Ling. Save yourself, fly, fly. I won't desert you, cried Wu Ling, and with a mighty roar, he changed himself into a lion. The hunter raised his bow, and Wu Ling sprang toward him and knocked the bow from his hand. The hunter fled, leaving his bow behind. Wu Ling and Chow returned to their fox shapes, and Wu Ling helped Chow to his den, where he took care of him until he was well again. Did they ever play that game again? Asked little Sue. Many times, said her grandfather, but they were very, very careful. That was a good story, said little Sue. Let's do another. Grandfather arranged his 7 tangram pieces. Is this story going to be about a man? Asked little Sue. Yes, said her grandfather. He is old and he is tired. He wants to sit under a tree and rest a while. Is he a grandfather like you? asked little Sue. Yes, said her grandfather, just like me. Little Sue arranged the 7 pieces of her tangram beside her grandfather's. Is that a little girl? He asked. Yes, said little Sue, just like me. She'll sit and rest beside the man. That will make him very happy, said Grandfather Tang. And now, little Sue, what will we do? We'll sit and rest together until Mother calls us for supper, said little Sue. That will make us very, very happy, said her grandfather. The end. So your task is to use the virtual shapes to create your own picture. It will be different than a tangram because tangrams need specific shapes. However, because we are not in school and I cannot give you tangrams, I will allow you to use your own. You can use the link in your class message to get to the virtual shapes. Here is one fox created from the tangrams. Here is a turtle, and here is a flower. So create whatever you would like and send a picture to your teacher. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for working hard with me, and have a great weekend. We love you and we miss you. Stay safe. Bye.